For those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve Bro. I'm involved in the Alexandria Rotary Club, and I get involved in this because I've been part of Toastmasters. I don't know if you've ever heard of Toastmasters, but that's a public speaking organization. And my recommendation is if you enjoy public speaking, which I know it's going to be a challenge and can be stressful, but if you go through Toastmasters, you'll learn a lot about the art of public speaking, and I highly recommend it. So look into that maybe sometime after this competition or next couple of weeks and see if that's something you want to try. So we have 5 contestants, and basically, as Owen mentioned, Bill is the person you want to focus on, because you want to make sure you're watching your time, because you have your speech has to be between 5 and 7 minutes. The rules state over 7 minutes you're disqualified. But basically, once you get that 5-minute mark, you're going to see Bill hold up the sign that says 2 minutes left. Correct. So there's the sign. That's what you want to watch for. When you see that, basically, that's the green light. You've met the 5-minute mark. You're all set. What you don't want to see is the red light or the red card. And so Bill will hold that up. That's a 7-minute mark for the red card. The prizes. So first place, I'm not sure if everyone's aware of this. First place is $500. Second place is $300. And third place is $200. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but what was it, 2 years ago, Kim, that we had only one contestant, and they got the entire prize. So they walked away with a great prize. And after this, whoever wins this one moves on to the district semifinals, and the prizes are even higher for that contest. So again, watch Bill during the time. I think the order we're going to follow, basically alphabetical order. So Alex, you're going to be first. Brian, you're going to be second. Chris, you're going to be third. Dariana, you're going to be fourth. And Hannah, you're going to be fifth. Any questions? So basically, normally when you start speaking, that's when we start the timer. Any indication that you're starting your speech is some indication, usually with the first couple of comments you're making about your speech, is when we start at the timer. Any questions? No? Don't be nervous. I have to say that over 10 years in Toastmasters, I've never delivered a speech virtually like this. So this is going to be a first time for me to watch everyone. Thank you.
Right, and just as an added comment, this is the first time we're ever doing this virtually, so please forgive any bumps and bruises along the way. We are trying our best, just bear with us. And then just as a last thing, after Hannah gives her speech, the judges are going to then go back out into the green room, have a discussion, and then when we're done, we'll come back in and announce the winners and things. So if you can hang out after the last speech and stuff, so we make sure that we let everybody know who came in first, second, and third. Okay. All right.
Hello, my name is Alexandria Carter. I'm a student at Pinkerton Academy, and I'm going to be giving a speech on the lesson my generation learned through our experience with COVID-19 and quarantine. March 13th, 2020. That date will never be forgotten by me or any Pinkerton student for as long as we live. That was the day that the virus, so casually mentioned during lunches as being a nuisance in China, would make an abrupt and unwelcome intrusion into our lives, send us sprawling, and force us to roll with its punches for the next year. Within the span of a few minutes, emails were opened, phone calls answered, and the news spread. Pinkerton Academy would be closing for 2 weeks due to COVID-19. Though this news was jarring and a little scary, at first many students, myself included, did not treat this 2-week closure as seriously as we might have if we knew what would follow in the year to come. However, at the moment, it seemed the student body was being treated to an unexpected 2-week vacation, during which we would be able to relax and take a breather from the normally taxing school year. Sure, COVID-19 was an issue, but according to the news, it wouldn't be long before the spread would be under control and we could all return to normal. It was only when that 2-week closure was changed to a month, and then from there extended to 2, that it really began to hit us that normal might not be coming back so fast. As the weeks passed, students watched with bated breath as numbers continued to climb, Deaths continued to accrue, and whispers started to spread about permanent closures, canceled proms, no performances, and postponed graduations. For a while, it seemed as though our school would spend the rest of that year mourning the things we had lost. Students began to sleep through classes, work went uncompleted, and fewer cameras were turned on during virtual classes each day as the motivation to continue school disappeared. However, as quarantine stretched on, the idea of normalcy gradually began to be challenged by groups of students and teachers who refused to let isolation continue to sour the remainder of the school year. Groups of performing arts students began to pull together virtual showcases, using their love of the arts to inject positivity into their classmates' everyday lives. Pinkerton faculty designed virtual award ceremonies and crafted unique graduation events and celebrations for the class of 2020, determined to give them a send-off with all the pomp and circumstance of a normal year. Social media feeds flooded with messages of hope as communities began to band together, reminding each other that no one is ever really alone. COVID-19 had done its best to tear our high school community apart, but Pinkerton was determined that it would not succeed. When the bells finally rang in a new school year on August 31st, my school welcomed back over 3,000 students, my friends and I among them. As we arrived on campus for the start of what my family and the media had promised would be the best year of our lives, several changes immediately stood out. Several of my closest friends were missing, assigned to a different cohort, and everyone wore a mask. As I made my way to class, I was greeted by signs reminding students to maintain a safe distance from others, and arrows marking the path of travel in hallways. Friends who once greeted one another with hugs exchanged waves and elbow bumps. The institution of strict COVID policies has gotten us back to campus, and we were determined to do everything in our power to keep us here. However, even despite the changes, there was a distinct hum in the air. Excitement. Everywhere I looked, friends were reuniting, athletes chatted about tryouts, music students prepared for a concert, and clubs advertised meetings. After 6 long months, life had returned to Pinkerton Academy. The student body that left campus on that fateful day back in March was not the same one that returned in August. Our quarantine experiences had brought us closer together, creating bonds among groups of people that never would have existed otherwise, and strengthening those that were already there. Creative and innovative projects sprung up as students worked with faculty to reinvent announcements as podcasts, broadcast sporting events, and film theatrical productions. A new blog, Astro Answers, appeared on Instagram in order to share student messages of hope and support with faculty. Various student responses are featured there, including one quote from a senior stating, "Just the fresh air between classes and socializing with friends make our days easier." Simple things like a trip up the English building stairs or sitting in an actual classroom are no longer taken for granted. Though my generation began the year 2020 with the mindset of regular teenagers, we have redefined what it means to be a high school student and embraced what the unknown has to offer. And sure, we have faced our share of disappointments. Proms, senior corn roast, homecoming, they've all been canceled and spectators banned from performances in sports. The hybrid schedule may still have a few hiccups, but the truly important aspect of high school has persevered. We have reclaimed the joy of simply being able to be present at Pinkerton. Even my friends who have told me multiple times they hate school have expressed excitement at being back. What we as students have come to realize is it's not really the classes or the assignments that define a high school. It's the community that is built around and in the building. We did our best to bring that community with us into virtual learning, but quarantine taught us that nothing could truly replace the real deal. It is no longer teens' dreams to be able to attend classes from our beds because we have seen that reality and decided we want no part in it. We missed our clubs, our sports, and our friends. We missed meetings in the quad, lunch in the senior caf, spirit weeks, and class inside jokes. We missed the feeling of being alive. And after months of waiting, high school and Pinkerton has finally been given back to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. That was very good.
Okay, Owen, we can
Okay.
bring in the next.
All right, here comes Brian.
That kid's really a Boy Scout. When people say this, they mean the person is honest, kind, helpful, or smart. After all, that's what Boy Scout means. But how true is that? Is the praise lavished upon Boy Scouts really what the program teaches? My friends, I come to you today, a decorated Boy Scout of over 7 years, to put that question to rest by applying the Rotary 4-way test. 4 simple examinations of ethics and morals that, when applied to something individually, tell you a whole lot about it. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Does it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? Bearing those questions in mind, it's time that you and I put Boy Scouts to the test with examination number 1. Is it the truth? Every time a scout is gathered with other scouts, we give our scout oath. While giving the scout salute, the first words we say are "on my honor." We are stating our promise to the truth backed by our own personal sense of worth. Because in a troop entirely run by scouts, when people aren't being honest, things fall apart. As the senior patrol leader, I was tasked with running a troop of over 25 scouts. Of course, I couldn't do this alone. So in Scouts, we delegate. We break the job down so everybody, by working together, ensures the troop runs smoothly. When one scout doesn't do their job, the job doesn't get done. Then the entire troop reaps the consequences. And sometimes a scout must experience this to realize the importance of honesty. The first words we say are "on my honor" because truthful communication is the lead virtue of scouting, and it is absolutely essential to the group's collective success. This works directly in tandem to examination number 2. Is it fair to all concerned? The goal of Boy Scouts is to reach the highest of the 7 ranks, to reach Eagle Scout. And to do this, you have to fulfill all the requirements of each individual rank. Keep up constant communication with your fellow scouts, spend weeks in the wilderness, hundreds of hours on paperwork, and always be prepared. Every scout strives to reach Eagle, but 96 out of 100 fall short. Surely, with such small amounts of success, with such large amounts of failure, there's no way it could be fair, right? My friends, I say to you that couldn't be any further from the truth. Take it from me. I am one of the 4. I am an Eagle Scout. And as I watched my brothers in scouting either be successful or fall short, I realized how fair scouting really is. Every scout has the resources to reach Eagle Scout, but not every scout has the willpower for it. And willpower is the fairest thing of all. He with the willpower to trek through these obstacles while also applying the lessons they taught him will no doubt soar to his Eagle rank. So yes, Scouts is fair. And as they put their willpower to the test, they will grow closer to their brothers in scouting. Which leads us to examination number 3. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Once, a couple years ago, on an early December campout, 2 of our younger scouts both forgot their sleeping bags. It's a rookie mistake, but that wasn't my first thought when they told me and another older scout, because those guys are like our little brothers. They're important to us, and it's our job to help them when they need our help and endure the pitfalls. The first thing we did when they told us was give them our sleeping bags. Then, as me and my friend toughed out the night in front of the fire, we were proud of the decision we made. I accredit this goodwill that I developed to nothing else but scouting. These are the lessons taught and reflected. Now, these 2 14-year-old boys who are only a few years into the program are giving back to the troop. They're helping plan out our trips and here for us to rely on. Building goodwill and friendships are pillars of scouting, and you can be sure we do that. which leads us to examination number 4. When it comes to personal growth, it is 100% beneficial to all concerned. Because a scout doesn't reach Eagle doesn't mean they haven't grown. I promise you. I know from experience that every single scout who applies themselves to scouting has left a better version of themselves than the ones who entered. We learn leadership, time management, delegation, communication, thoughtful decision-making, and so many other lessons that I personally will carry with me and uphold through my entire life. Many will depart from the program proficient in all of these skills with a tight-knit group of friends by their side and a rigid moral compass to guide their way. So yes, indefinitely, 1,000 times yes, every single scout who applies themselves will spectacularly benefit. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Does it build goodwill and friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? In the case of scouting, my friends, I say to you, the answer is yes, 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 and yes. When you really examine it, it's plain to see that Boy Scouts surpasses the Rotary 4-way test in its answers. So maybe we could apply the test to other areas of our lives, and maybe, just maybe, we can be a little bit more of a Boy Scout.
Very good, Brian.
And next we will bring over Chris.
Hi, Chris. We are ready when you are, so.
All right, thank you. Hello, my name is Chris Perfetto, and before we start, I want to ask you a quick question. What do saxophones, Garfield the cat, philosophy, performing, and various math problems all have in common? Well, they're all components of the unique atmosphere Pinkerton Academy has created. With their 3,200 plus students, Pinkerton is the most populated high school in New Hampshire, giving ample opportunity for diverse cultures to form and take charge. The staff and students of Pinkerton create minute subcultures tailored to individual preferences and interests. By participating in as many events as I could, I have learned that an active school community creates supportive environments for students to excel socially and academically. Coming from the quaint town of Chester, my graduating class was roughly 80 kids, and I had spent the last 7 years with them, so everybody knew everything about everyone. The benefits of the small school were that I was easily able to surround myself with peers who held similar interests because there were only 4 different lunch tables to sit at. I painted my journey at Chester Academy across the canvas that was opportunity. I established a morning announcements program and was a prominent name in the arts department. I was awarded the Community Alliance for Teen Safety Award, which was given to the student who best modeled respect and inspired positive change in both the town and school communities. I didn't want to leave Chester Academy. I had just painted my legacy at the school and I didn't want to leave it all behind, but I didn't really have a choice. I had to continue my journey into high school at Pinkerton Academy. And once I arrived at Pinkerton Academy, I had 7 new classes with almost entirely new peers, a new campus with over 7 core buildings. It was a new canvas and it was daunting. Instead of letting the fear take me over, I got to work sculpting my place in the school's community. I created a club my freshman year, the Garfield Club, where students who have an added difficulty in socializing are able to meet friends and create those relationships that are otherwise daunting to discover. My underclassmen years were filled to the brim with various clubs like the Future Business Leaders of America, marching band, and theater. I participated in performances like Mr. Pinkerton, the talent shows, lip sync competitions, concerts, parades, musicals, and plays. And I've won several awards for outstanding character, service to the community, and service to my peers. Now, I stand before you in my senior year of high school. I have established a new format of morning announcements for my school, and I have even been invited by the headmaster to speak at formal presentations. I'm the drum major of the marching band and still the active president of the Garfield Club. All 4 years, I have maintained honors, with my lowest grade being an 87. I saw Pinkerton as the canvas it was, white and shiny, waiting for a story to be illustrated on everything it had to offer. The key component of every activity I have listed is simple. It was the community. As much as I like reminiscing on my career at Pinkerton Academy, that list of activities was not to brag about what I have accomplished. Rather, further exemplify the opportunity found within the walls of Pinkerton Academy. Each feat I have accomplished has been assisted by a unique group of individuals supporting it. My friends in the band who supported me into my drum major role are entirely different than the peers who have helped me create the morning announcements program. At Pinkerton, individuals do not need to find their group. The groups will find them as time goes on. The diversity of interest at Pinkerton makes that school of 3,200 seem a whole lot smaller, which is why Pinkerton hosts such incredible environments. Everything is tailored to the specific interest of the student, allowing anybody to establish an interest for anything. The benefits of the freedom Pinkerton has to offer extend socially, as I have mentioned, and carries over into the academic portion of the school. The Garfield Club is the silly club I made that helps students socialize within the classrooms. Students who are more shy have taken the skills demonstrated at the club and carried them into the classroom, speaking up or for themselves or helping to participate vocally in debates or discussions. The same can be said about clubs like the marching band and theater. They allow students to grow and mature as individuals, carrying over learned skills and habits into the classroom, letting them participate more actively and promoting healthy learning habits. By achieving the diverse communities found at Pinkerton, students are not only able to benefit from the clubs and classes they attend, but they can give back. I took initiative in becoming an active role model for my fellow peers early on and participated in mentor programs for freshmen, tutoring fellow peers, and speaking at orientations for incoming students. These opportunities presented themselves to me throughout my career, and I was able to enforce positive change for my campus and those involved. The best role a student can take on is the role of an active and engaged student. As simple as it seems to be engaged within a classroom, asking questions and participating in lectures will result in a heightened understanding of the material for the individual and their peers. The strength of the classroom culture is drastically increased when a multitude of students are all actively participating in a lesson. After flying through my 4 years at Pinkerton, I'm not ready to move on. I'm left in a similar situation I was left in 4 years ago with the end of my time at Chester Academy. I have done all I can do with my 4 years, and in talking with dozens of peers, I was able to figure out a lot about myself. My biggest takeaway is that I have a drive to educate. I want to help future generations of children learn. Science, math, English, whatever, that part will come to me. What I want to teach is the lesson of opportunity. I was given opportunity at Pinkerton, and I took full advantage of it. Pinkerton gives that same opportunity to almost 800 new kids every year. What Pinkerton needs to accomplish is informing the students of the opportunities that await them. I want future generations to make the most of their high school careers, and by becoming a teacher, I will be able to preach the philosophy of opportunity while helping in any way that I can. The Pinkerton community prides themselves in giving opportunity to young adults, and the supportive environments that have been created by the staff and students have only benefited all of those involved. Providing opportunity to grow as a campus and as an individual, Pinkerton Academy is the model school in creating an active school community that supports students socially and academically. Thank you.
Here comes Dariana.
What is morally wrong or immoral in society? Does society get to depict how our actions are proper in the way they are not selfishly acted upon, and they are morally acted in a moral reason? I will be establishing how our personal acts are a resultant of the society you live in. And in this 4-way Rotary test, I will be establishing how is it fair? Is it fair to all concerned? Is it beneficial to all concerned? And will it build goodwill and friendships? In personal belief, I believe I have good character. In this, I do not mean I do things just to do it because I believe society will view me as a good person. I do it because in the kindness of my heart, I want to be there for someone, be a leaning shoulder, help them out in any way I can, because I understand some people just need someone sometimes. I was always taught to be grateful and to help others. And in this way, I have built a true self-identity in myself that I can go around and tell people I am a good person. I do not mean to say that in a conceited way. I say it as I understand that I'm not the best person, but if you look for someone, I will be there for you. For an example, I have joined Best Buddies at LHS. This is a new club, but I was so excited to join it because I know many kids who have physical and intellectual disabilities feel excluded, and I do not want anyone to feel that way. When I joined, I understood not many of them could make friendships, but I want to be someone they could look towards and be able to build a bond together. Doing this, I want them to understand that I do not see them as someone who has a disability. I do not want to see a label. I just want to see their interior. Seeing their interior allows them to rely on me, and I rely on them. It also is just an amazing thing to be there for someone who may not have someone at school. So interacting with them and being an insight at school for like, oh yeah, that is my friend. That is an amazing thing to me. And only that, it makes me feel good as well, but them for certain. The environment you live in establishes how you interpret those things. I was taught that no individual is different. No labels can decipher who is who. Everyone is the same. The only difference is how you view them, if you choose to view them as a selfish person or if they're kind-hearted. In helping someone, everyone wants to be kind-hearted. You never want to do something because society told you to. Every time I look towards a good act to do, I do not view the idea that people look at me and say, oh, that is sweet that you are doing that. No, I want people to understand that I'm doing it because I want to, not because I want a good praise, but because I know other people can rely on me. In this, Best Buddies had built such a good bond between me and my peer buddies so far. I can talk to them, they can talk to me about anything. We understand each other. We have a reasonable moral aspect, and he can come to me for anything, and I can come to him. We joke around and all that. But in this, it builds such good bonds in the club in general. And I understand many people who have joined, they did it for the proper reasons. If you do not do things for the proper reason, there's no true aftermath towards it. Many people joined with the closed mind that I'm just doing this to help someone. I do not care. But once they leave the club, they understand they left with an open mind. They understand that they joined this with a closed mind, but now it is open. And they have built a bond that they cannot lose. They can now be joyed with themselves that they help someone, and they're leaving with a good friendship as well. If people do this for a selfish reason, there's just no proper cause. Everything has to have a dignified reason to it, which is why society deems things as morally proper. To feel delighted about yourself in doing this is why you have to do things for the proper reason. If things are only done because you are told to do it, there is no underlying meaning to it. Things must have an underlying meaning. The community also sees respectable humans with proper decency. Proper decency is all around, and only society can depict that for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dariana.
Hi.
Hi, Hannah. You can start anytime.
Okay, thank you. As humans, we have a tendency to say what we think others want to hear. When you're in the grocery store and the cashier asks how you're doing, what do you say? Do you tell them how you really feel? If you've had a terrible day and you feel like things are only getting worse, do you say that? Or do you say that you're fine and move along with your life? This is what our society has turned into. We take the time to ask the questions, but we don't always mean what we say. Think about the last time you met someone new. You probably introduced yourself and asked them about themselves. But think back, do you even remember what they said? Probably not, because it didn't mean anything to you at the time. In a world that we call our own, we don't take the time to get to know people anymore. We make assumptions about others and act on first impressions, even when we shouldn't. Over the past few years, I've made a conscious effort to think about the words that come out of my mouth before I say them. I don't talk often, but when I do, I want it to mean something. There's always a lot more to a person than what we see from the outside, and we just need to take the time to peel away the layers. So why don't we? What would it require of us? Maybe 30 seconds? Perhaps it's because we're all just so used to ourselves not mattering. So why do we do it? Why do we take the time to ask the questions that we don't even want the answers to? The honest reason is because it's the standard that society has created for us. So when we push away our own feelings and the feelings of others to fit the standards of society, Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? The answer to all four of those questions is no. No, it won't. And that no needs to change. Nowadays, we live as if we're all part of one choreographed dance, afraid to make the wrong move. We're afraid of what others will think of us. We're constantly comparing ourselves to what we think we should be like. We suffer alone because the second we say anything, we label ourselves as weak. We're labeled as weak by others that feel the same way but refuse to admit it. People that feel like they're so much better than us because they keep it bottled up inside until they're shaken just enough that they explode, exploding over everyone and everything that has ever pushed them to the point of explosion, making what they have to say irrelevant. We all need to make an effort to hear others before it's too late. Don't just listen, but comprehend what they're saying and think about how it could be applicable to your own life. If someone tells you it bothers them when people don't include them in something, take that to heart. Learn that exclusion hurts and make a conscious effort in the future to never make anyone feel that way again. If we all did that, things would start to change for the better. We're not always individuals with a significant purpose, but rather just a part of a system dedicated to uniforming us despite our differences. We call this conformity we experience every day society's standards. We don't stop to question them anymore, but just accept them to be fair. Starting at a young age, we're taught to fit in. Nobody wants to stand out. We desire the approval of others and we feed off of it. Not because that's our choice, but rather because that's our instinct. We want to feel appreciated and loved by others. So over time, we as a population have evolved. We have become so used to validating everyone that we feel our own validation isn't enough anymore. We feel that just because someone says something positive about us, that they probably don't mean it. That even though they took the time to say it, that their words mean nothing. This self-doubt that absorbs the life we live is showing. No matter how society tries to build us back up after they knock us down, we're already too broken and there is no magic fix. To correct the world we live in would be nearly impossible at this point, but we can at least try. The first step is to remind ourselves of our worth. As hard as it is, we need to remember that fitting in isn't necessary. We are our own person, and despite what others say, the only thing that can truly get to us is ourselves. By doing this, we're benefiting not only ourselves, but those surrounding us as well. Knowing our worth is the truth, it is fair, and it will only lead to a stronger individual capable of building goodwill and better friendships in the future. The thing is that we're also desensitized to the wrong going on around us in a larger scale that we tend to accidentally overlook the smaller things. The world we've grown up in has destroyed us before we've even had a chance to live, and it's our job to prevent it from destroying others. Walking down the streets, we think about what would happen if this wasn't our life, if we weren't subconsciously trying to fit into some ridiculous stereotype. What if people respected and appreciated you for you and meant it? We rush through our childhood because we think it will get better. We watch movies about lives we wish we had. The life where at 6 years old, you got to play in the street with the neighborhood kids until your mom called you in for dinner. The lifestyle that consisted of living and enjoying the people you were with, no matter the differences. But nothing changes as we grow up in reality. The odds are stacked against us constantly, some more so than others. 6-year-olds now spend their days playing on iPads, never learning how to properly interact and engage with their peers. We're encouraged to live 2 steps in the future, leaving us hardly any time to appreciate the present. But who cares, right? 50 years from now, standards of society will have changed, and so will we. We can only hope that they will have changed for the better, but to ensure that they do, we must take action. Action starts in our own community. I'm not saying we can create world peace or solve all the evil in this world, but we can easily make a difference in the lives of others on a smaller scale. We can be the reason that someone smiles today, or responsible for making someone feel comfortable in themselves. When we help build up others, we are building goodwill and better friendships. We are creating something beneficial to all concerned. It is the truth, and it is fair to all concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. The judges are going to all go off into our own little room and have a discussion. And then hopefully we'll be back to you in just a few minutes, okay? Thank you all for participating. You all did a great job.
Welcome back, judges.
Thank you. Just want to make sure everyone's here. So again, the judges tallied up the scores, and we had a brief discussion. And we basically, what some of the key points that we're focusing on were the 4-way test. I mean, that was a huge factor in this in our analysis and the points there. You can obviously in the score sheet that we have, I believe all the contestants saw that. That's where most of the points are. So we went through the process, and I know all of you thank you for your speeches. We had our very first comments about your presentations were they're wonderful, amazing, great
Thank you.
information, very well executed. Something that I haven't seen in the past for seniors and high school students delivering a speech like that's been great, very effective. So what I'll do is I'll start off with our third place winner. Our third place winner is Hannah. Congratulations, Hannah. So you win $200.
Thank you.
Our second place winner is Chris. Chris, you won $300.
Thank you.
And our first place winner is Brian.
Thanks.
Hey, Brian, yeah, nice job, everyone.